Hi, my name's George from Upfish, marketing automation expert. And in today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be showing you how to create Google Ads campaigns with basically 1 or 2 clicks of a button. Now, as you know, I am a marketing expert, but I'm not a Google Ads expert. So I would like to welcome to the call my dear partner, Carl. Hopefully he is indeed on the call. Carl, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, great. So Carl is a big Google Ads guy, and he's helped me to put this together so that it's not just a random automation, but an actual process would work for Google Ads agencies to solve hopefully 2 of their biggest problems, which is creating campaigns and handling the analytics of it. Now, I know people get very, very bored with my long introductions, so that's why everybody, I'm just going to jump straight into it. So the idea here, again, you're imagining you're an agency, and you've got loads and loads of clients, and all of a sudden you get 5 clients in one day. So here we have an example of some brands. We have some nutrition company, a lawyer company, a CRM company, pet DNA. Great. That was actually Carl who put that in. Has one of your pets recently died?
No. You need to know the DNA of your pets because they have some predisposition to certain diseases, you know.
Okay, I thought this was like a cloning thing, like a Jurassic Park type situation, but all right, okay. And a roofer. So again, I'm not a Google Ads person, but Carl put this together because he assures me, yeah, you get a lot of different clients who come in, lots of different stuff to do. And a big problem is creating campaigns for all of them all at once. Take a lot of time. So what we have here to start off the system, if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know I have a process in place to create automatic assistance for people. So here, for example, you might have a roofer. So you would create a value proposition doc for these companies. We have one here for the pet DNA test, lawyer. And what the proposition will do is it will tell the AI, this is what the company is, this is what they do, who they sell to, the kind of language they use. So when it comes to creating ad copy and targeting people, it's perfectly aligned with what the company needs. In order to get started with this, all I then need to do is to create the assistant, all right? And to make sure I have everything in place here, I'm just going to expand this record to see. So we have the company name. We have the assistant instructions, which is, so this is in a form to make it very easy to fill out. This is just the default of my Google Ads assistant. We're going to put in the homepage for the company. So in this case, just their lawyery homepage. We have the Google Ads number, which is essential because obviously you can't run ads for a company without an ads number. We have the principal contact, which in this case is Carl's email. And then we have the file, which attaches to that value proposition that I mentioned earlier, because this is what it's going to use to make the right decisions. The ad campaigns is a test we ran earlier. You could ignore this. And the Slack ID is blank because it doesn't get created yet. But essentially, I need to create this assistant. So I just press the button. This sets off a webhook, which in turn creates that AI assistant for us. So this is stuff you would have seen in early videos I've made. Very, very boring stuff. So I won't go deep into how it works. It's just a necessary fact. So what's going to happen is eventually this will send the information. It's going to create a Google Assistant for us. So in our Assistants tab here, we're going to see a new one get created eventually for this lawyer. And once the lawyer is then created, we can start running a campaign. So as we see here, it then creates the assistant for us for this lawyer. So we've got the vector store ID. We've got the assistant ID within our brand now. We also have another interesting thing that happened, which is it has created a Slack ID. So this means we've created a channel within our Slack account so that we can message directly with people. We also gave a message too. So within my Slack here, you see here, I've got a message to say my assistant in vector store for my lawyer is set up. Go to the airtable to make sure everything's good and invite the user, in this case, my ads lawyer, to this Slack channel. So within my Slack, there's also, so this isn't actually my Slack, this is created in Carl's Slack, so you can't see it, but there's now an external connection set up for this particular lawyer so that we can communicate with them directly. Carl, could you just confirm, did it set up in your Slack the channel for this client?
Yes, it did.
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect stuff. So now we have a client, and I've already wasted a large part of this video talking about the client. And all anybody really cares about is creating campaigns. You want to create a campaign, you want to create a campaign budget, you want to create ad group, you want to create ad group ads, you want to assign it to a country, you want to get keywords, negative keywords, all of this stuff that usually takes hours and hours. How does it work? All right, so what we'll do is we'll set it up, from scratch. So we're going to make a campaign name here. What we're going to do is we're going to run a UK campaign for this company for, what's a good lawyer campaign? Personal injury, maybe? Is that, I don't know, you're the Google Ads expert here, Carl. What would be a good campaign for a lawyer?
Yeah, UK personal injury attorney in California.
And we'll make this called, is this going to be a UK or a US one?
I don't think there are any personal injury attorneys in the UK. It's a very USA stuff. Like,
Okay, that is actually very true. All right, so we'll call this a USA one. We're searching for personal injury related stuff in the context of the assistant we've created for these lawyers. So again, in that value prop, it will be like, these are the personal injury cases we take. This is the kind of stuff we do for people. It's a cold one. And again, for people who aren't Google ad experts, Carl, what is this between a cold and a branded search?
yeah, so branded search, it means you run Facebook ads, TikTok ads, or you're just a big brand that everyone recognizes, and they typically just type your brand name. So let's say it's HubSpot. So it's a big company, that's what people type. And what you don't want to do is mash everything together. You don't want your brand keywords to be in one campaign with the top of the funnel campaigns, which we call cold. So you want to completely separate it, exclude them from your cold campaign, and this way you can generate new users, not just basically bottom of the funnel retargeting campaigns.
Okay, awesome. So we'll keep this as cold then. The status is obviously for an internal thing of whether we want to create a new campaign, whether we want the agency, so in this case it's Carl, whether we need Carl to approve the campaign. Client approval is obviously the end client, so in this case the lawyers, they need to approve the campaign. Then we have approved when everything's done and we're ready to get it running. And then we have it and when it's running and finished, which can speak for itself. The next step is a budget. So as we see here, this is your daily budget in the local currency. So everything that works through Google is local. I'm based in Portugal, so my local currency is euros. If you're in America, it will be in dollars or whatever. So you'll set a daily budget. I don't know, 150. Does this seem like a good enough daily budget for this example?
Yeah, I mean, no, actually, personal injury lawyers, their cost per click on average is $100. So I assume you got to put something like 300. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, 300. And next we have here the Target CPA. So this is again, in the local currency, the cost per acquisition. So again, for non-Google ad specialist, Carl, what is a CPA and why have we included it here?
CPA is the cost per action, and you determine that cost per action inside of your Google Ads account. It can be when someone submitted their contact information, that's when it's triggered, like a goal, aka conversion. So cost per conversion, or it can be a sale. So if it's a sale, you get that kind of target. Yeah,
I wrote this wrong. I should put action instead of acquisition. So anybody who, I should say this thing we put together is totally available for agencies or companies who want to use it. And if you do use it, this will be updated to say action instead of acquisition. In this case, Carl, what would be? You said it was like 100 was a good amount for a lawyer here.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we have the target URL. So again, if I just come back into my main space here, into the brand, we have a homepage, obviously, for these lawyers, but a lot of ad campaigns aren't sending people to homepages; they're sending to landing pages. So our target URL is going to be a landing page, and I have one already prepared because it will take me too long to write. So we have here US. Where is it? Let me just copy and paste this in, or do I not have it included here? Yes, we do. Great. So I'm just going to copy this and I'll put it into my form here. Oh no, this is the homepage. So again, if this was if you imagine if you're a shoemaker, it might be like nike.com/shoes or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's however you want to run it. The next stage is the campaign goal. So basically, this is who you're targeting, what you're selling, and why they want to click. So you might say, this doesn't really have to be too detailed. This is a campaign to find people searching for personal injury related terms and encouraging them to undertake a free legal assessment or whatever. Again, just for an example, I'm not going to spend ages typing this out. And even if I was doing this in real, I wouldn't spend ages typing it out. It's just to give an idea again of who you're targeting, what you're selling, and why they might want to click. Cold and branded, again, we've put it here in the title, but just to make sure the automation knows for sure, going to mark it as cold. Next, we have here keyword backup. So again, we're going to be using the homepage to see the URL suggestions for what people search for, but that relies on someone having a homepage which is perfectly optimized. So as a great example, a client of mine here in Portugal, they have an online platform for driving schools to sell software to driving schools. But if you were to seed their homepage into Google, it just returns you basic, education, online education, free online education resources. It's not really appropriate. So what we do is we get the keywords from the homepage. Our AI assistant for this particular company will say, this is good, this is bad. And if it's bad, then we're going to use a backup of keywords we have in store. So again, we're not going to, I know that this person has a perfectly optimized homepage. I'm not going to spend a lot of time writing this. But for a company like this, I might put in something like, I don't know, injury lawyer or whatever. And then just put in a whole bunch of words separated with commas, enclosed in quotation marks. The country, all right. So again, when I was doing this, I thought you could just pick a whole bunch of countries. I put in the UK, the USA, Canada, but our Google expert, Carl, is going to tell you why that is actually not the right thing to do. And this is why I've said just pick one location to target.
Yeah, so inside of the Google interface, if you put all the different locations in one campaign, sure, there are ways to optimize it and you can break it down into reports, but the best practice is always to just have separate campaigns for each location so that you see your target metrics, and just like reporting is better, and target CPA might be different for each location. So that's just the best practice.
Yeah. And if you're thinking, oh, but I need to do the US, I need to do Canada, I need to do Australia. Well, once you create this, you can just copy that row in Airtable, paste it into the one below, and then just change the country. And it means that it's gone even easier than it would do otherwise. The next step is brand keywords. So this is what should be excluded or not included. So again, we've mentioned here that this is a cold campaign. So it's automatically going to discount anything, in this case, which says Mayfirm. But if we take a step back and we think about a company like, I'm very bad at examples, I don't know, like Volkswagen, all right? So obviously it doesn't want to include Volkswagen, but you also might not want it to include, ID3 or sub-brands, if that makes sense. So if you know that there are sub-brands and you want them to be included, you can just add them in here. So I don't think there's any brand keywords for Mayfirm. Well, other than Mayfirm, obviously they're already there. Are there any other brand keywords I should exclude for this particular example, Carl?
For this particular example, no, but yeah, you made a perfect example. There are just sub-brands that you need to think about, or like you have a product, let's say you're a company and you're the company name Optimum Nutrition, and you're selling whey protein, and then your whey protein's name is Golden Standard Protein, and then it means you have to exclude it because this is a sub-brand, and you're just gonna be running your ads for the brand searches, which is not optimal.
Yeah. So I'm not going to include anything here, but again, if I was, I would just put in something like Jetta and then ID3. I don't know much about cars. It was an awful example of me to pick, but yeah, I would just put in these extra sub-brands, separate them with commas, all good. And then finally, we have the company brand, which in this case is going to be the lawyer. All right, and now that's done, I can press submit. Oh, I've made this. This is a mistake. This is why I do things live, so you can see when people make stupid mistakes. I made this required field, so I'm just going to put a space bar in here now, but I'm going to delete it in a second. So now if I come back into my Airtable, all right, we'll see here, I've got this whole campaign set up. That, again, it took me longer than it should have done because I was doing, I was talking through everything at the time. But if you imagine if you are an expert, this would take, I would estimate, maybe 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes to set up. And if you're doing it manually, how long would it normally take, Carl?
I mean,
I guess this isn't the hard part. Sorry. The hard part is, just pressing the button, and then it's going to create a whole bunch of ad groups and ads and copy for us. So how long would that normally take?
When you do keyword research, just the keyword research part, you're only researching it. It just takes like, let's say, an hour. And then you need to group these keywords based on the meanings and so on. So let's say this is another 30 minutes. And then you need to come up with the headlines and then descriptions. And then, I'd say it's like 4 or 5 hours total to build one campaign from scratch if you never ran a campaign for this industry. Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay. Well, I've pressed the button already, so this should have hopefully generated the webhook if I remember to turn the automation on, which I think I did. So what we're trying to beat here is 4 hours of generation, and I'm pretty confident that we will do that. And what we'll see happen once the automation finishes running is the status is obviously going to change because we no longer need to create it. What we need is the agency approval. We're going to see the Google Sheet get added, and this Google Sheet is basically going to have the campaign to, rather than put it directly into Google, what we're going to do is we're going to put it all in a Google Sheet, all of the ad groups, all of the keywords, keyword search volume, the justification for the copy, for the headlines and the description, so that the client can understand it better. And then when they approve it, it will go live. The country code we're going to see added in here as well. So again, you might say, I want to sell in Canada, but obviously Google doesn't know what Canada is. Google understands Canada as 2124. But within that, there's also Greater Canada, mainland Canada, like British Columbia, Alberta. We think of the United States as well here. There might be California, might be Texas. So what we do is we don't make it so that you have to say, oh God, what is the Google internal code for Brighton, United Kingdom? You just have to type it in and we figure it out for you. And we're still under the 4-hour mark, but it's still running. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little break. The time now is seeing here, the creative date is 2:15. So by the time it gets running, we'll be able to see exactly how long that process should have taken. And this is a mental note to myself now to pause the video at this point and edit it in later. In this case, we started running it. I created the campaign at 2:15. I pressed the button at, I think, 2:17. Time now is 2:21, so it took 5 minutes to run, plus 1 minute for me to just check with Car, but everything works. We didn't have to start recording again, but it did work, as it always has done in all of us. That's the official line. So what's happened here? We see that we now have a sheet. We have a country code. And when I open up the sheet, what we have here is information on the campaign. So you might be asking, why don't you just send this direct to Google? Because part of this is as much about the process as the automation, if that makes sense. You don't just want to create a campaign, put it into Google, and then tell the client, hey, it's done. What you want to do is you want to get a note to look at first internally. So in Carl's case, he wants to send it to himself. If you're like a giant agency, you want to send it first to the account manager of that particular company, so that you can pop in and you can just check, hey, all right, we've got some ad groups. So again, remember, we were searching for a lawyer and we were telling it we want to set a campaign to look for personal injury attorneys in the USA. That might be a free consultation. So it has given us 5 ad groups here: local personal injury services, auto accident legal assistance, experienced legal representation, consultant offers, special injury types. And we have an explanation of why we're doing it here. So this is to do with the keywords as grouped together. We can then check out the keywords, all right? And we see here we've got things like personal injury lawyer near me, personal injury attorney near me, injury lawyers near me. We've got the average monthly searches. So we've got an idea of like how much volume we're likely to get. And it also tells you the ad group it's associated with. So we see here the ad group local personal injury services. It's all about people searching for personal injury lawyers in their area. We have one for auto accident legal assistance, where we're looking for auto accident attorneys. We have one for experienced legal representation, which looks to be more of like a generic search of just injury lawyers, injury firms, injuries. We have a consultation ad group as well, where we're looking for people, personal injury lawyer near me, best personal injury attorney near me, law injury attorney, slip and fall lawyer. And we have specific injury types as well. So all of this is basically grouping together all of these keywords, search terms, I should say, and then telling the client, or rather telling the agency first, these are the search terms we want to use. These are the average monthly searches, these are the ad groups. And again, we also have the copy. So here, if I can make this slightly larger, this is an ad copy for local personal injury services. There's an explanation here. Basically, the ad copy highlights the value proposition of this lawyer, such as the high success rate, free consultation policy, emphasis on personal injury cases in California. Language encourages potential clients to act by showcasing reliability, experience, accomplishments. We see here we've got a whole bunch of headlines, which look pretty good. Free legal assessment, 99% success rate law firm, no win, no fee, over $150 million recovered. Descriptions, free consultation, 99% win rate. We have the path 1, free assessment, no fee until win. And then so on. We have that repeated again. Different, I said repeated, just totally, different headlines, different descriptions for auto accident, and again for experienced legal. and for consultation offers, and for what's this one? Specific injury. So this is the sheet that gets made. And again, the idea is that we get like a little notification on our Slack here to say, hey, this is ready. Send a message to the client when you approve it. So again, if you were to look at it as an agent, an agency, I should say, and you're like, oh, I don't like PI attorney near me because that sounds like a private investigator attorney. Well, I would just delete the row and it's gone. So it won't be made to the campaign. And again, when it gets sent to the client, which happens automatically once you press the button in your Slack. So once you approve it, you're like, okay, this is good, take it out, come back into Slack, you press the button, send to client, and it will send it to the client in the in the Slack channel that we created when we were creating the client. So for example, we'll send it into the Slack. So this client will say, here is the Google Sheet, please give it an overview. The client will do the same. They might delete something, or they might change like a headline, like we're not 99%, but 99.9%, or whatever such rubbish. And then it's ready to get posted. So before I move on to the next stage, Carl, again, as a Google Ads specialist, is this particularly useful for you and your clients?
I mean, guys, this is insane. For example, 8 years ago, I was like an intern at a marketing agency, and I used to do multiple campaigns for personal injury lawyers, like in the United States. So when I did that, I had to go to the keyword planner, research keywords. And right now, the keywords that Google Ads generated, to this day, I remember that these keywords that you have right now in your keywords tab, they are the ones that drive conversion. I remember all of these keywords that are listed here, most of them, I remember from the memory, they drive conversions and real sales. And also, if you go to the copy, this is perfect copy. This is exactly what they put. For example, when they say no win, no fee. So in the lawyer, like personal injury space, this is their main thing. They say, if we don't win, we're not getting any fee. But actually, if they do, they get a percentage. They don't charge hourly. They charge like on a case by case stuff. And just looking at the headlines, I'm like, oh my God, I had to write it all by myself 8 years ago. And now all I have to do is just click a button and then it just happens. And it's perfectly because it used the data from the website to come up with this. So this is
and the value proposition doc as well. So if you have a value proposition doc which has even more information than the landing page, so you obviously when you're talking to the client and they're like, oh, just so you know, we like this one here, my favorite piece of headline, your justice is our mission. That sounds like the kind of thing that you might have heard in like a meeting with someone and be like, yeah, justice is their mission. It's cool. Anyway, I'll pop back into it. So yeah, so again, you can do it as the agent. You just be like, all right, I don't like this one, delete this. I've already deleted this one. I must have made a mistake. So whatever. Have a look at the copy, have a little change, whatever. You press the button, goes to the client in their Slack channel. They have a look at it, do the same process. They press the button, and then it starts running automatically. Okay. So again, normally what would happen at this point is it comes into the agency Slack. They press a button, it automatically gets sent in the Slack channel we created earlier to the clients, and this status gets changed to client approval. And when the client presses the button in their Slack, it gets sent directly to Google Ads. In this case, though, because this is just an example, I'm sorry to pull back the curtain here, there is no one from Mayfirm on the call reverse waiting at their Slack to press a button. So I'll just manually change the status to approved. I hope nobody cares. And I'll run the automation manually myself here. The automation to run. So we can take all of this information that we have in Airtable and the information that we've generated in the Google Sheet, and it's basically going to upload it to Google Ads for us directly. So if we check here into the automation, we see it's going through its stuff. If I look into the Google Ads campaigns here, so we can see here within the Google Ads account now that the campaign has been fully uploaded. It's this one here. It is set to go, it is set to be enabled. I'm just going to move it to pause for the sake of Carl, because if you recall, we set the daily budget to $300 a day, and I don't think Carl wants to spend nearly, $9,000 a month on an example I made for my YouTube channel. So I'll just move that to pause for him. But yeah, we see here, all right, it's been uploaded. It was enabled until I paused it, but it was enabled. it's set to $300 a day, which is what we wanted. If I click on it, we see here we have the 5 ad group. If I click on one of these, like experience legal representation, we see here all of the keywords have been uploaded as a phrase match. And somewhere in here, I believe I can see the ad group. We see it's been uploaded fully. If I click on it, it takes through to the person's homepage because I clicked on the link. And if I press the edit button, is this the button I'm looking for? Yes, it is. Then we see here, all right, here are all the keywords. This is the ad group. Get rid of this. We have here the final URL. We have the display path. We have the headlines. We have the descriptions. So everything has worked perfectly. So at this point, campaign, it's up and running. Again, interminably long for a lot of people watching this because there's a lot of explanations. But if we take it back to the beginning, creating a brand takes like maybe 1 minute. Creating a campaign, maybe it takes like 2 minutes. Getting approval from the agency takes maybe 20 seconds. Getting approval from the client can take anywhere from 20 seconds, 20 days, I guess, depending on how effective they are. And then we see here, as soon as it's finished uploading, the client gets a Slack message as well to let them know that their campaign is going to be live. And when we set this automation up, we put in a delay of 3 days for the campaign to start running, because obviously if something does go wrong at the very end, you look into Google, it's not like, gosh, this has been running late to get up, which gives you again a little bit of buffer room. And once that's done, we have weekly reports. So again, we have some more automations in here. Don't know why I needed to save changes there. That's a slight worry. But yeah, so every week you get deep analytics, which essentially tell you what the week-on-week changes, and also automatically removes keywords from ad groups which are underperforming, seeds keywords which are overperforming to create more search terms for them, and makes manual suggestions as well on budget changes, CPA changes, and whatnot, which sometime in the next month I hope to make totally automatic too. So I hope you liked this video. I guess at this point I will refer back to the oopsie daisy. I'll refer back to the Google Ads expert to get Carl, your final opinion on this as a Google Ads expert.
I mean, now my life is gonna be way easier. I'll be able to sip on my cocktails on a yacht and just let the AI handle everything. So thank you. I'm one of the few lucky people who got it. And if you're not gonna hurry, you're gonna be behind. You're gonna be stuck building and doing the keyword research and all this stuff, while people like us chill. Yep.
Nice. So I should say this automation, because of its complexity, not available on my Gumroad or my school. If you're an agency or a company wants this implemented, you've got to get in touch with me directly. The links are in the description. And as part of it in this implementation, Carl is also making himself available for like deep audits and help of how to get your campaign structured properly. So it's a full service. We put this in place for you, so you're running it yourself, or if you need our help, we'll host it for you. We run it for you. So basically, you're saving a lot of time, and you're making a lot more campaigns than normal. And then you've also got the added combined expertise of me and Carl if you need extra help getting stuff done. So again, I hope you like the video. Like, subscribe, comment, etc., etc., etc. Any final words, Carl?
God save the king.
Thank you. I always think of it as the queen in my head still. She'll always be the queen.